Hello, and welcome to episode number 198, where I'm speaking with Dr. Sujatha from AmrtaSiddhi in Bali about Ayurveda's view on Hashimoto's, the doshas involved, along with the diet and lifestyle triggers. We also look at the correlation between Hashimoto's, the thyroid, and the throat chakra, which represents our voice, speaking our truth, and our creative expression. So please stay tuned. Hello, and welcome to the Elements of Ayurveda podcast. I'm your host, Colette, and I hope to educate and empower you to take charge of your health and well-being, preventing disease in the body and mind so that you can thrive in life. I will be sharing the holistic teachings of Ayurveda, the ancient healing tradition from India. I will also discuss topics like yoga, which is the sister science of Ayurveda, health and wellness, nutrition, fitness, and mindfulness practices, as well as interviewing lots of inspiring people along the way. My humble wish is to help you to connect to your true nature, to Mother Nature, and to help you to connect to each other. If you're new to Ayurveda, I recommend that you start by listening to the first couple of episodes where I do an introduction to Ayurveda and the mind-body types. Now, if you like the content, please subscribe to the show so the new episodes will automatically download for you to enjoy. I've also set up a new private community away from social media on my new website, Elements Healing and Wellbeing. Now, this community provides a safe space for like-minded people to come together, to connect, to share, and to support each other. And I have many other perks in this community as well, so check it out. I'll put the link in the show notes or visit my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com, and just click on the community tab in the menu. I hope you can join us. I'm looking forward to a lot more in-depth connection and conversation over there. And now, here's the show. Hello, and welcome back to the Elements of Ayurveda podcast. Today, I'm very happy to welcome back Dr. Sujatha Kekada, who is the lead Ayurvedic physician and co-founder of AmrtaSiddhi Ayurvedic Clinic in Bali. She completed her Ayurvedic degree in India before relocating to Bali in 2004. Now, AmrtaSiddhi and Dr. Sujatha played a big part in my healing journey and in the work I'm doing now, because Dr. Sujatha was my Ayurvedic doctor or mentor when I arrived there for my first Panchakarma. And I talked all about this in podcast episode number 5, Ayurveda and Healing in Bali. But today we're going to discuss Hashimoto's, which is unfortunately a very common condition today. Dr. Sujatha, welcome back to the podcast. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Colette. Nice to be sitting here far from the world to each other and connecting.
Right. Yes. You're in Ubud and Bali and I'm in California, a 15-hour difference, but we made it happen. So, and I'm looking forward to this conversation today, Dr. Sujatha, because as I said, I come across a lot of people in my work online, as I'm sure you do as well, who are suffering with Hashimoto's. And I'd love for you to start telling people about what is Hashimoto's and what are the general symptoms, please.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Hashimoto is being an increasing condition. And also there's a feeling with people, once you have Hashimoto, then you kind of, bound with it. There's no way out of it. And I just want to start saying that it's not the case. You can, even if it is an autoimmune condition, there are a lot of things that you can do to taking care of yourself, because it's a condition starts within yourself. And there is an answer. You can cure it. Hashimoto is a thyroid issue. It's a Hashimoto thyroiditis. Basically, your thyroid gland gets inflamed due to your body's own immunity attacking the thyroid cells, thinking it is something foreign or something not needed to the body. Hence, it creates inflammation in your thyroid follicles. As a result of it, the symptoms or the imbalance in the hormones presence in the body can change. Some people experience hyper, that means increased thyroxine hormone in the body, and some people can experience hypothyroidism, decreased thyroid hormones in the body. And based on hyper or hypo, people are going to experience different symptoms. And also, I have seen a condition where the hormone levels are nothing changed. They just have this inflammation going on in the thyroid gland, having some symptoms related to the inflammation. So, general body ache, fatigue, some joint issues, these kind of stuff. So, it's not like directly they will see the impact of variable levels of thyroid hormone itself. So, these are the things. So, that's how it is differentiated from, goiter or myxedema or like a simple hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism. Here, the autoimmune factors are there. The thyroid antibodies are seen when you do a blood test.
Okay, so it manifests differently in different people. And I guess talking a little bit about the thyroid. So the thyroid is responsible for controlling the metabolism, right? The production, the release of the metabolic hormones.
Absolutely.
So can you talk to us a little bit about Ayurveda's view on Hashimoto's and the doshas involved then?
Hormone system, particularly here, we talk thyroid hormone is being responsible for different metabolism. Basically, without thyroid hormone signaling to your cell is not able to take the nutrients and turn into what it should be doing, production of energy, repairing cells, and all those things. So basically, so in Ayurveda, we call the function of thyroid hormone is related to Dhattvagni. That means what happens in the cellular level. The digestion taking place in the cellular level is represented by Dhattvagni. That means transformation of your body tissues into a healthy form. It doesn't take place. So there is an interruption in there. In general, Hashimoto thyroiditis, when there is an itis, that means there is an inflammation. So there's an involvement of certain amount of pitta is already there. But along with that, there's involvement of vata and kapha. So anything to go abnormal, either way, as a result of inflammation, if it goes hyper, there is a tendency of combination of vata along with the pitta. So it's almost like a forest fire. So something in Ayurveda we call hyperthyroidism means, Ayurveda classifies disease into understanding what's the pathogenesis, what's happening. So we call this process as ati pravritti. That means something is excess going in your system. So that's the hyperthyroidism nature of in Ayurveda. There's involvement of vata, which comes primarily from lots of stress, and then the stress getting accumulated in the thyroid region. There are various causes why it ends up there. I think we will come across that talking about the emotion involvement and all those things. And and then the combined with the inflammation shows the signs of hyperthyroidism due to Hashimoto. And then we also have a condition like a hypothyroidism, where it's a malfunction or underfunction of your thyroid gland, where it is a reduced secretion of the hormones. That means like your metabolism further gets delayed, slowed down, and sluggish. So there is an involvement of kapha. And this condition in Ayurvedic way of understanding what happens in the body, we call apravritti. That means decreased secretion, decreased action of a gland or a cell or a system. So there's pretty much, it can go. And when people have Hashimoto thyroiditis, it's constantly varies. People are never going to be hypo forever or hyper forever. So it changes depending on where they're in their life, what's going on, what dosha takes the predominance. So they can be hyper and then suddenly they can become hypo. So we need to be very mindful in treating this condition. And that's why also it becomes a bit complicated for people. And I think they start thinking, okay, once I have it, this is always there. So there's involvement of 3 doshas, but the inflammation factor contributed by pitta, and we really need to take care of taking if there is no hormones, either hyper or hypo, we need to focus on how to get your pitta under control, along with managing stress and through diet and lifestyle.
Right. And so does the thyroid function come under like the pitta dosha's responsibilities, because there is this production and transformation action?
Yes.
Okay.
All the hormones in our body, the functions of hormones in the body is under the governance of pitta.
Okay. So there's pitta present anyway. And then this can be aggravated on its own, or maybe there's a vata involvement or a kapha involvement. Or like you said, it could fluctuate. So we know that vata, being the main dosha that's responsible for movement of all the others, obviously it's very sensitive and very subtle. So when vata goes out of balance, then it can really lead to a lot of issues in the Hashimoto's condition. And given our lifestyle today, being very vata aggravating, I would say that this is probably one of the big factors in this Hashimoto's condition being so common.
Yes. Stress is a trigger. Stress increases vata, and I like to call vata as a naughty dosha, because once it is out of balance, upset, it's not going to sit quiet, and it's going to go and poke the other doshas to create imbalances.
I like it, the naughty dosha. But so can we talk a little bit about that? Let's talk about first, before we go into the balancing factors. And you just hinted on that about stress. What are the diet and lifestyle factors that can aggravate Hashimoto's? Like, what do we have to be careful about?
A root cause of when you study Ayurveda, it always starts with ahara vihara. So imbalance in wrong diet, wrong lifestyle is the primary cause for manifestation of any disease. It starts with that and then affects your agni. One of the key factor in Ayurveda for health and illness. Once the Agni is out of balance, then, it produces ama, and produced ama can, block the minute channels or circulation system, and then the impairment just start to build up. So if you look into ahara, a dietary part related to Hashimoto, so anything that, here we need to be mindful of one's own constitution. Nutrition requirement varies from person to person. So there is very, narrowed path of general diet that everybody can choose as a healthy diet, has a role in it, but then there is a specific need for nutrition is also very important according to Ayurveda. Our bodies are very unique. Our mind works differently. We live in different seasonal conditions, weather. So all those things matters. Maybe, we all forget that we all only look into immediate action. So we think, okay, I'm eating this now and, it doesn't do anything. But these all are very subtle, accumulative results. So my teacher always said, if somebody is manifested into a diabetes or had a heart condition, it started 10 years ago. It's not just going to show up because, you had a bad diet for 2 months or lifestyle or a stress for 2 months, it manifested. So it's an accumulative effect, both for the good and both for the bad. We call in Ayurveda concept of ojas, which is something essence of your well-being, seen through as a good immunity, good state of mind, generally happy and content and joyful. And you walk around with this energy. And this is something you can also see in a person that you interact or you talk or you look into their eyes and you feel this good quality. And this is an accumulated quality that person developed through right lifestyle, diet, meditation practice and all those things. So we have these ojas, and in the same way, the opposite of the ojas is ama. And we can accumulate this ama in a slow manner, or the imbalance to the doshas in a very slow manner. But when it is the right time, it's going to, manifest into it. It's like, if you want to call as an incubation period. So the incubation period of imbalanced, out of balance dosha or the ama depends on the person to person, what activities you do, and what circumstances or what weather or what triggering food that you consumed on that day, then it just manifests. So if you're indulging in lifestyle that's you are not taking care of your body, simple routine of some exercises, eating when you're hungry, choosing the food that's wholesome and naturally available, and knowing what you eat, giving yourself enough sleep, having some fun in life, and making sure your emotions are taken care. All those things contribute to health. And when we do not have all those things, if we eat all the time outside or eat, unwholesome food or food which is high in calories but doesn't contain nutrition, don't go to bed, certain time of the night, all those things gradually increases. And then depending on what you did, either to increase vata or pitta or kapha, the disease manifestation in Ayurveda, we have 6 stages. It starts with accumulation, aggravation, and then, moving out of the sites where it got aggravated and then going enlarging in different part of the body. And when Hashimoto thyroiditis happens, it's just kind of doshas are just lodged in the thyroid gland. Maybe it started in your gut, started with the stress in your nervous system. Then it gets lodged in that part of the body and then manifests into a disease. So by then you have done some damage through lifestyle, through diet, through emotions, and then now it is the process of reversing.
Right.
So vata increasing food like a dry, cold, food which is too light, all those things can trigger vata, and kapha increasing food here more than the vata. So heavy food, dairy, wheat, or eating when you're not hungry, not allowing the previous meal to be digested before you consume another meal, late eating. All those things can be contributing factor, and then combined with this trigger for autoimmune thing, it just makes it worse, and then the disease manifests.
Yes, and like you said, what you do day in, day out has an accumulative effect. And as you said, your teacher says it could have started 10 years previous. So just a reminder for the listeners is what you do day in, day out makes up your life, and it's so important, your choices on a daily basis. So I'm going to jump in here because we've come back to this conversation of the daily habits and the importance of our choices in our diet and lifestyle day to day, and how our day-to-day habits make up our life and how they have a huge impact on our physical and mental health. I want to let you know that if you're looking for support around implementing good daily practices that are in tune with the circadian rhythms, the daily energy cycles, which means that you're flowing with nature rather than going against it and suffering, I have that 28-day online self-paced course where I cover the circadian rhythms and help you build a strategy and triggers to put these daily habits in place. You get education around the mental gunas and how to keep your mind balanced. Get education about becoming your own healer and the principle of opposites in Ayurveda, a very simple principle that you can use in your day-to-day life. And we also talk about living a sattvic life so that you prevent any imbalances and as a result prevent diseases. So I'll put the link in the show notes to that. I also want to let you know that if you want a tailored strategy where we talk in person, I offer 90-minute online consultations and we can talk in depth for 90 minutes about your current condition, and I will build a strategy for your food, your lifestyle, your exercise, your mindfulness and self-care. And of course, a realistic strategy that fits into your lifestyle. That's a really important factor. Last thing here is I have the group seasonal cleanse coming up October 1st. You know, it's really important in Ayurveda to cleanse at the joint of the seasons to get rid of any accumulated doshas or toxins from the previous season. And so that group cleanse is coming up October 1st. That cleanse comes with a 90-minute private online consultation where I tailor the recipes, the mindfulness, the self-care, the yoga videos, and anything else I think you need to bring you into balance. And then we go through it as a community. We have a private group where we support each other and hold each other accountable as we go through the cleanse. So for info on the 28-day online self-paced daily habits for a holistic health program, or if you want a private 90-minute consultation where I build a specific strategy for you, or if you're interested in that group cleanse starting October 1st, just click on the link in the show notes or visit my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com. And I look forward to connecting with you soon. Now let's get back to my conversation with Dr. Sujatha. And you touched there as well on how, there's 6 stages of disease. It starts with accumulation, aggravation, and so on. And then the ama moves eventually around the body and settles in certain areas. So these areas could be genetic weakness, or it could be through old injuries, or just weak tissues. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Physical weakness, it could be energetic weakness. Yeah. And then the disease manifests.
All right. So now I want to go there. Energetic weakness. We talked about emotional factors because I do think it's fascinating. Hashimoto's affects the thyroid gland, which is located in the throat and at the fifth chakra, Vishuddha chakra, and that it's considered the bridge between the heart and the mind. So I'd love for you to talk on this, Dr. Sujatha, that this energy center really represents our voice, expression, speaking our truth. So what effect can emotions or undigested emotions or not expressing our truth have on our health? And in this case, on Hashimoto's?
See, when Ayurveda talks about ama, it's not only talking about the physical ama which produced in your digestive system. So it also talks about the ama of the mind, because mind and body is always connected. So, mind is much more powerful than the body, which is something Ayurveda states, and mind is considered to be, the one of the sense organ, and it's also a bridge between your body and your spirit. So whatever happens in the mind, that get distilled down into your body, either good or bad. Emotions are expression of different chemicals, and your body experiences emotions as chemicals. And if we are constantly experiencing some emotions and we're not working on it and not expressing these emotions, one way is to accept that I have emotions, and expressing that and resolving that and changing that and moving forward is a process of amapachana, or digesting the emotion process that arises in our mind through different experiences. And we also know certain food defines the quality of the mind. So for us to have certain way of thinking, certain way of feeling also comes from the food. And, in Ayurveda, we look into Vata, Pitta, Kapha being the dosha, the physiological manifestation of itself in the body. And then we have got of the mind, it's plus Vata, Pitta, Kapha, plus Rajas and Tamas. And the state that we want to keep our mind is in the sattvic quality. To bring the mind into the sattvic quality, we really need to attend our emotions, the feelings. And first step is to accept it, and second step is to express it. And then the third step becomes the changing it, so that we constantly digesting. And if we don't do this, and we know that the expression part is like a speaking, communicating, connecting. So without doing that, even though we may have a feeling of love and heart open feelings and stuff, but if we don't communicate that, and then it's just going to stuck there, and we can't bridge into our, Sahasrara chakra, or the further connection, openness, and the flow, and it's stuck there. And it just also, when it comes to our Hashimoto autoimmune, it's like it's a bit of a fight that we put into ourselves, and we fight about something. Either it's like, how am I looking? What am I doing in my life? I'm not there where I think that I should be there. It's just a bit of a conflict. Autoimmune is your own energy that should be protective and loving and nurturing to you, is going against you.
Right.
So this is a fundamental thing.
Yes, absolutely. And essentially, obviously, with the chakras, the energy should be moving upwards. So there's a disconnect there. In this case, with Hashimoto's, of the energy being stuck there for whatever reason. Like you said, whether it's undigested emotions, you're not expressing yourself, you're not expressing your true nature in this world, which is essentially what this journey is about, right? Is expressing your true nature, bringing your skill set into the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when you talk about like a chakra level, so it's the Vishuddha chakra. So after the heart opening, for us to reach to the state of heart opening, it's about like realizing the connection and the oneness and all those things. So, and from there, if we kind of not expressing, sharing, it could be any skill that you have got or anything that you're good at, and all the knowledge we have from studying and all those things. And if we're not going to share and express that, it's another way of blocking. I've seen a lot of people, they're so talented and they have all the tools, they studied so many things, but they're kind of not ready to express it and give and make a difference to people, or make a difference into their own life. And this withholding is just, it's a struggle to keep that within yourself and not expressing. And then, trying to make excuses in many different forms to say, oh, I'm not ready yet. It's not enough yet.
Right.
So, it would be much more easy to unleash that and just go and express and do and make a little difference that you think is possible rather than holding it back. And that's a fight.
Absolutely. Because how draining is that if you're trying to suppress something, an energy that's trying to manifest in the world, and you're on a day-to-day basis trying to suppress it? It takes a lot of energy. It's draining your energy.
Yes.
Let's go through a few of the symptoms of hypothyroidism, a few symptoms of hyperthyroidism.
Yeah, in hypothyroidism, everything slows down. So it's like a kapha dominance manifestation in the body. So low metabolism, weight gain, loss of menstruation that leads into a hormonal imbalance, fatigue, like a little exertion in the physical body. They feel very fatigued and tired and difficult to breathe, feels like, chest is constricted, tendency for depression, melancholy, dry hair and skin, loss of hair. And in extreme condition, one may have, total collapse of the system and the complete manifestation of depression and body's not working well. And also cognition deficiency. This is also start to happen when it start to, affect the mind level, because nothing is working. It's basically, you need to understand, in a hypothyroidism after a long time, it's like everything slows down, every system. It will have a cyclic domino effect on other system, no libido, no sex drive, no energy, everything it's a state of stagnation. So that happens in a hypothyroidism.
Right. So would it be fair to say that it's more tamasic and more inert?
Absolutely. It's a more tamasic quality, and the qualities of the kapha, like the manda, guru, and slakshana qualities are high. So everything becomes manda, sluggish, slow. Everything feels guru, and everything is slakshana, which is like something which is slimy and sticky and creates stagnation. So nutrients are not running through your circulatory system, or, rasa dhatu is basically stale.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that explanation.
And in hyperthyroidism, it's a total opposite. So it's like a strong combination. There's not much of kapha involvement here. So it's more of a vata and pitta. So in the rasa dhatu, that basically it's almost like a forest fire. Everything is going to speed up. Your adrenals are over-functioning. You have tachycardia, that means increased heart rate. So the body thinks, okay, need to, output more energy. And hence the person will experience anxiety, xerophthalmia, that your, eyeballs are popping out, looks larger eyeballs, and unsettled, restless, night sweats, disturbed sleep. Basically, you have a very strong symptoms of panic attack and anxiety, and losing weight along with it, that your body is kind of, speeded up. So this is what happens in the hyperthyroidism, whereas involvement very strongly, vata and pitta, you may experience joint pain, joint inflammation, all those things, particularly if it is combined with the Hashimoto's.
Right. And so that is more rajasic.
Yes, more rajasic.
Okay. So this condition, obviously the Hashimoto's condition, and whether it manifests in hypo or hyperthyroidism, it then needs a holistic plan, right? A strategy for healing, because we talked about it's not only diet and lifestyle factors, but also emotional factors, right? So maybe if you could give us a case study that you have, or what you would suggest. I mean, obviously it's going to be tailored to each person on their individual needs and so on. But what would you suggest for somebody who's out there listening, that they're, resonating with this? They're thinking they have some of these symptoms, because we know many people can have this condition, but not even know about it.
Yeah. If somebody is on a hypo level, and if it is quite extreme, then, for them, we need to remove the kapha, the stagnation in their body and in their mind. In my practices, when people had this situation, because if somebody is very depressed and heavy, lethargic, unmotivated, and have no energy in the body, you can't really tell them, okay, come on, wake up in the morning, go for a run, and eat all the kapahara food, and it's difficult. So what I would usually do in my practices is I recommend them to start with some T3 to take some hormones, so they at least, it's clearly there is some deficiency which is causing the body to not to function. So I would recommend them to see the endocrinologist and get the thyroid hormone to start with.
Right.
And then once they start to feeling a bit better, where the body wakes up and start to do its function, then I start to look into working on their root cause. So in a mild cases, we can quickly come over this by, doing a Vamana therapy and the Lekana therapy, which is a scraping therapy and some fasting and all those things. So if it is in extreme cases where there is like they are depressed and obese and stuff, I'll put them on T4 and then gradually once they stabilize themselves and feel big motivation and start to look after themselves, then I look into changing their diet, lifestyle, exercise routine, a lot of meditation. Pranayama plays a very important role in bringing the circulation of the prana to the thyroid gland and repairing it and, reducing the inflammation. In the hyperthyroidism case as well, you want to thyroid inhibitors when it is an extreme case of tremors, anxiety, panic attack and stuff. Once they stabilize, then I would look into the root cause of their anxiety. And I've seen in quite a few cases where it is a hyperthyroidism, they somehow had this feeling of not enough. I need to do more. I need to do it faster. I need to catch up. They constantly have this tendency of waking up and thinking, okay, how fast I can go and how more I can get it. It's like a burnout syndrome. So it starts with that. Yes, very rajasic. And then you need to do both the spiritual healing here as well as the physical healing. And understanding the concept of spirituality and how I can achieve all these things that I want to achieve in my life without, killing or destroying my own body here. So, the more a bigger sense of achievement is needed than just comparatively just a small way of thinking, okay, I'm not there yet, it's too late, or, I'm getting, past my 45 and not much time left. I should have achieved all those things by now. Any of those desires, it's nobody puts it, but we kind of put it onto ourselves, seeing maybe some cultural or social or family pressure or anything.
Yeah, it's literally eating away at us. And that's essentially what Hashimoto's is, the body eating away or attacking its own thyroid tissue, right? So essentially for hypothyroidism, you're lightening that heaviness and you're stimulating, right? Energizing, right? Exactly.
Anything to do with anti-kapha therapy should be followed there. Yeah, they need more of, we call the Ushna Tikshna Dravyas, something which is more penetrative, more sharp, like in groups of Dravyas like Pipali, Vacha, Chitraka, Rudraksha, garlic, Jyotishmati, all those things we need to use here. We want to stimulate their mind and clear the dullness.
Yeah. And very good point that if a person with hypothyroidism has gone to the point of inertia where they literally feel like they're stuck in mud physically and mentally and don't have any inspiration or that spark, that Raja spark to start something new, is that you have to work on stimulation and energizing first, because they just don't even have that stimulation within them right now.
Correct.
Yeah. And then hyperthyroidism, focusing more, I guess, on grounding and calming that.
Yes. So yin yoga, routines, take things easy, nourishing food, calming down.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you mentioned the importance of pranayama for the thyroid. And I'd love if you could talk a little bit about that, the importance of pranayama for stimulating the thyroid, and also chanting as well. And like bija mantras as well, if you could.
Yeah. So see, when emotions becomes a major role in manifesting a disease, the effect of the emotions travel in the subtle energies, which in Ayurveda we call nadis. So the direct way we can bring changes to the nadis is through pranayama, because prana flows in the nadis in a subtle energy. Here, the prana we are talking about not just the breath. It's the essence of the breath which travels in the micro channels of our body, the sukshma sharira we call. We have a stula sharira, that's a physical body where we can see the digestive tract, the windpipe, intestines. This is also channels, but the nadis are the micro subtle channels where the essence of whatever is manifested through these gross channels are experienced through energy, emotions, and stuff. So by the best way to control this energy or bring that into a balance the way we need it, what's needed for the body is through pranayama. So if you are too much of increased pitta, then you want to do the pranayamas like shitali and long exhalations and stuff, just to cool the system down and release it. And if you are having too much of kapha, then you want to do something like a kapalabhati, bastrika, all those things which is strong, where you burn out the kapha and creates a more movement. So pranayama in that way plays a big role. We can control our mind, bring the mind to more in a sattvic nature, so that when the mind is sattvic, it connects to the consciousness. It gets a bigger picture and creates harmony. So that's the reason pranayama becomes a very vital role in any kind of treating illnesses where the imbalance starts with the mind and emotions. And also another thing is we call the Marma Therapy. So the Marma Therapy, directly there are Marma points in the throat area. Once you know the point, stimulating that, and the balance will happen what it is needed. If there is a ati pravati, over functioning, then it will calm down, and if it is apravati, sluggish and not functioning, then it will activate into producting of the more. And then chanting of mantras, prayers, all those things works on the subtle energy levels and in the nadi levels, and bringing the body what it need to be done to bring the perfect balance. So this is something very important. As I mentioned, if it is a hyperthyroidism, where it is the burnout kind of symptoms and over expectation or achieving. So we need to bring some spiritual awareness into this, so we can express ourselves and achieve all the things we want in a very harmonious way without harming ourselves.
Yes, great points there. And then the marmas being the energy points throughout the body.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Marma
different
Therapy.
Energy point. They're connected to nadis and then connected to different organs, different glands and stuff.
Absolutely. And yeah, Marma Therapy, that's one I forgot to mention. That's a fantastic one. So essentially giving, your body the right environment, it will heal itself, but it has to be a holistic healing practice.
Yes.
Yeah. And like I said,
you can't
getting
separate
to the
body and mind.
Yeah. And getting to the root of it also. So taking time to see where the root of this issue is coming from, whether it is diet, lifestyle, stress, environment, or emotional.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that cannot be done in like a 7-minute consultation. That has to be done in a long consultation where with your Ayurvedic practitioner, you're really delving deep into your current situation and into your history.
Correct.
If people wanted to get in touch with you, Dr. Sujatha, the AmrtaSiddhi is situated in Ubud in Bali. So how would people get in touch with you right now?
Due to COVID, it made my work to be more online. It's not the I always prefer to sit face to face with people so I could, connect to them. But I think what we thought is impossible, now everything is possible. It slowly kind of, I'm developing to work with people distantly and, doing the consultation, assessing them and giving the guidance related to diet, medicine, and emotions and stuff. So people who need help, I'm available for online consultation and then supporting their journey if it is needed to be done a detox, or maybe even to a certain degree, I've offered even Panchakarma program to be done at home, provided that they have a facility and a support system, because Panchakarma being a very intense and deep work, you need to have a good support system and time and space to, go through this process. So online sessions are available, online guided, home cleanses, home Panchakarma. These are the things I've been offering. And also I've been offering some courses. I just finished a women's wellness course recently. So there will be a few more courses I will be offering online if further people interested in to study Ayurveda, deepen their knowledge, or if it is just someone who is looking into a natural way of curing any health condition. So they can just contact through our AmrtaSiddhi's website. You can send an inquiry and we'll organize the appointment time and any other consultations needed.
And also, you mentioned your Ayurvedic restaurant.
Oh, yes. Yeah. This COVID gave me a bit more time to my passion for food and food as medicine. So together with a couple of other people, I have opened a restaurant called Dapur Usada, which means medicine kitchen. It's gaining its popularity, and it's like a little playground for me to express my passion for food and herbs and medicines.
Wonderful. Dr. Sujatha, thank you so much. This was very insightful. And I will put the link to Dr. Sujatha's website where you can book your online consultations in the show notes. So please check that out. Dr. Sujatha, always a pleasure. Thank you so much, and best wishes there in Ubud and Bali. And I hope it will be opening up very soon.
Thank you, Colette. And thank you for everybody listening to this podcast.
Thanks, Dr. Sujatha. Talk to you soon. Take good care.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now. I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Dr. Sujatha, and please check out the show notes for the link to AmrtaSiddhi in Ubud, where you can book online consultations also with Dr. Sujatha. And I have put the links to my Daily Habits for Holistic Health program, my online 90-minute Zoom consultations, and that upcoming group cleanse, the discounted October 1st cleanse. So please check out all those links in the show notes. If you haven't already subscribed or followed the podcast, please do so, and the new episodes will automatically download for you. And if you think that this episode will be helpful to family or friends, I would appreciate it if you would share this episode with them. Thank you so much for tuning in. And don't forget, I have the Online Elements community. If you want to continue the conversation in the private community on my website, I'll put that link in the show notes also. Until next time, take good care of yourself, be well, and bye for now. Slán go fóill.